Okay. Welcome to another player interview in our ongoing Rams game. Right now, we're joined by our Olmish player, Ibek. Ibek, thank you for joining.
Pleasure to be here.
So, turn 15 in game right now. Looks like you've found yourself in a decent position from an expansion perspective. Um, Walk us through the early game for you. How's it going?
Uh, well, the expansion plan was to rely on Black Knights up until the point I can start pumping out about 10, 12 Guardians per turn. Uh, Black Knight expansion is basically brain dead. You just have to park them at provinces that are not too heavily defended, and they sort it out themselves. Uh, yeah, and with that, I would be surprised if I'm not the lead when it comes to expansion.
And
From
it
what I can
looks like
see,
you still have some expansion ongoing, but you also have bumped into a neighbor.
well, bumped.
Well, expanded pretty quickly or aggressively towards them, and are
Yeah,
now in a war with Asphodel. Is that accurate?
yeah. I'm fighting a defensive war after he viciously attacked one of my parties.
And it looks like you've made contact with a few other neighbors, including Yis, Flegra, Shinu, and a tiny little border with TC. How's your diplomatic relation with other neighbors besides Asphodel going?
Uh, just this turn, I've signed an app with Atlantis. I don't see a point to not have one, because yeah, fighting a war into an underwater nation is pointless at this stage. Especially since I've had very bad luck when it comes to finding magic sites that actually give me gem income. So I have no option to actually go underwater right now. I think I have an app with Shinu. No relations at all with Flagra, but he decided not to push when we had a potential bump, so that's good. No relation at all with ES. I don't like how close to my cap he is, but that's a problem I will be handling after Asphodel. And no relation with TC. We just border a province, and that's that. Oh, and to complete the pattern, no relation at all with Fayes. Well, the sailing boys, sailing giants, however you spell the name
Yep.
of the faction.
Oh yeah, you've got a little
On the very
border over
same,
there.
very same basis. He's very far away. I doubt that
Jesus.
he'll choose to attack just on the basis that, well, there's a province with a flag on it.
Your expansion is quite huge here.
Half of it is the hobbits. The what is it?
The
For the
Bergmeister
Boggits
guards.
elite warriors. Hand on heart, the expansion with the Hobergs or Piconier or however you call them is fantastic.
Have you used this mercenary company before?
No, this is the first time I'm hiring them, and from this point on, in every single game of mine, uh, if I have to choose between shipbreakers and this band, I'm taking the hobbits. Hand on
Really?
heart. You know what? Let me see if I have any screenshots from earlier in the game.
Well, it looks like they're still
No, because I've
going,
reinstalled.
and I
Oh yeah,
believe you've had them since the beginning of the game, or relatively early. Is that accurate?
that's true. They've cleared half of my cap ring. They've taken care of a large barbarian province. I think two separate heavy cav provinces. This turn they've cleared something or other.
And then
Ichtids this turn with minimal losses, and they're still going strong.
it looks like
Basically,
you
any
have 5 additional forts up at this time.
at this point, yes. One in well, I fought at steel ovens since I found them. That's a no-brainer. Uh, and yeah, I'm not 100% happy with my fort placement, but not all of my provinces were prime real estate. But then again, quantity has a quality of its own, so I'm happy about it. Half of the reason for the war with Asphodel is the province at 112, because that's 17,000 pop on the farmland, and I basically had to take it.
And then from a steel oven's perspective, does that change any of your plans, or does it just improve upon the already great forging ability
Mm.
of Ulm?
I'm waiting on an astral random, and I'm becoming a communion nation. That's the plan.
Oh, through
Through
matrices?
slave matrices, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
At that point, a matrix will be what? 2 gems? One gem actually. Well, one astral, one earth.
Yep.
Or rather, one pearl, one earth gem. So yeah, that's something I cannot pass up. I'm not sure how I'll do it. Well, if I'll do it, because I can just not random an astral mage. But if I do, that's the goal. So yeah, for now the plan is to backfill a couple of provinces that I've left. There's a pretty bad random event at 122 where 33 troglodytes spawned. And they spawned right at the third where I've had a fire random smith and a recruited air mage go into that province to side search. So not only did they kill them both, but they've also cut me off from expanding into 127 and 99. So that's a bit of a problem. I was hoping to reach the fort at 69 and at least have a border with it. That failed. Happens. Yeah, the plan for now is rather simple. For next turn, I'm hoping to hoping I will break the siege at 112 because I will be having 30-ish guardians with my gods and some archer support versus whatever Asphodel has added, and I think I should be good.
And your god appears to be the Black Steel Colossus. Um,
Indeed.
Went dormant, and that's why your scales are slightly lower than perfect. Um, any reason you went with the Black Steel Colossus over a rainbow?
I dislike rainbows. That's more or less it. I think the Colossus looks cool and it's kind of funny, so I wanted to use them. Whether it's an optimal choice or not is I don't really care, to be perfectly honest.
Well, I think you've proven so far that optimal or not, you're doing just fine. Um, it is interesting. Typically with Ulm, you either see the Awake Iron Angel expand or whatever it's called, Black Steel Angel, or a Rainbow Imprisoned. And then
Mhm.
for the magic diversity, it is interesting to go dormant, but the Black Steel Colossus, that does give you quite a bit of a power spike for the first war.
I was looking at the Iron Angel, but I was banking on having a good early game because I have very strong troops. Uh, and in case of having, let's say, a Hellbless on Asphodel with centaurs that would be able to massacre my troops, then I would need something that goes through, let's say, Berserk Sacreds with very high stats. The Colossus is able to do that because of the high HP plus high prot plus spellcasting plus everything else. I'm not sure whether the Iron Angel would have been enough.
No,
Probably would
it
be,
would
but
not.
still.
The lack of spellcasting, I think, hurts the Iron Angel in that
Yeah, I
situation.
haven't tested it because, I didn't see a point where I can have a cool golem instead. On top of that, he's able to get me big Earth globals. He's able to get me big fire globals. That won't happen this game because I have terrible luck when it comes to fire sites or sites full stop. And with that little bit of air magic, he'll be able to eventually trapeze around if I need strategic mobility. So yeah, I think it's a good chassis.
And who started the hostilities between yourself and Asphodel?
Uh, well, he's going to say it was me. I'm going to agree. He basically expanded way too slow, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Uh, I've started fighting this province at what 12, and deliberately didn't go into his cap ring for 2-ish turns. At a certain point, I was wondering whether he's stalling or just passing his turns. But yeah, it appeared that he just expanded westwards and southwards rather than secure his cap ring, and yeah, that sealed the deal.
And were you well positioned for this war, or were you being optimistic or opportunistic and um, you're now having to relocate some of your forces?
Mm, I mean, the strategic mobility is pretty bad. Mm, sorry for that. Uh, Guardians are slow on a good day, and the terrain we have here is pretty bad. But on the other hand, he's my closest neighbor. Uh, Aside from the Minotaurs, which well are wreaking havoc on against my troops, I think the matchup is pretty good. Um, I think I've just committed because the province at 112 was that good. That's that was the main factor. If I were to reassess, I think a war with Shino early on would have been better because he has less tools to stop my troops early on. But on the other hand, well, I've committed. That's the deal.
Yeah, you typically don't see many Minotaurs due to their cost from Asphodel, but
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they do have Berserk and Trample um, actually does make them pretty effective against Olmish troops, not to mention a decent hit point pool.
It's mostly the trample. The trample is really working wonders, and
Yeah.
he's dealt a lot of casualties for to my troops. I think he anticipated it as well, and hence the recruitment pattern that he has. But even with that in mind, I think this is well, I'm going to say this is a foregone conclusion, and then you'll have an interview three turns down the road about the asphodel siege of Ulm. But that's how it goes, doesn't it?
That is sometimes how it ends up. So let's take a look at the future. Asphodel War goes well. Do you look to consolidate at that point and avoid a coalition, or is your approach more of a snowball? Let's try to end this thing quickly before one of the underwater nations gets out of hand.
Good question. I'm not really sure at this point. We'll see how it goes, but I'll have to get more better scouting info on TC because people were complaining about him being big. So that's a possible contender. Uh, if I take over Asphodel and I get positive diplomatic relations with TC, I could gobble up Shinuyama or Flegra. Flegra has an awake, which might be an issue at least for some time. Hmm. We'll see. I think I'll play it by ear. I'm not really that big onto long-term strategic planning when it comes to Dominions,
And,
or when it comes to anything else either.
and what is your Dominion's background or experience? I believe you're newer to the Reddit Discord community. Is that true?
Yeah, this is my first game on this server. I'm a relatively new player as well. I have a single win under my belt on either on Clockwork or on the Dominions Game Hub, one of the two. And I've been playing for 8-ish months, 9 months, something like that. I have maybe a dozen games under my belt. That should be a better metric.
And is this your first Dominions Enhanced game, or do you have experience with the mod?
No, this is my very first game, and I haven't read through the changelog, so I'm basically going in blind. The
Oh, interesting.
the biggest amount of research I've done was have a look at uh, how it's called, Ryugojo, the one with the crab people.
Yep.
I've had a look at their troops, and that's it. That's the extent of my research. Oh, and I've actually had a look at Asphodel because I was planning to play them because they look really fun, and the changes to the nation seem to be very positive. It seems to be making them way more playable than they are in the base game.
Yeah, they're generally considered one of the strongest middle-aged nations
Oh, really?
in DE. In particular, the early game, the Black Centaurs, are
Hmm.
because of the sleep aura and the high stats and the sloth power, are considered extremely strong. Um, in this game, as you've seen, they've taken rather unorthodox approach to Asphodel.
Hmm.
It's more of a troop or scales build, but traditionally you see a really strong bless, and the black centaurs are one of the stronger sacreds.
Uh, uh, when I was looking at Asphodel, I wanted to take them with thunder weapons because I've did the bare minimum of testing, and the sleep vines actually carry through thunder weapon attacks, so you can get like 12 attacks per sacred from the undead centaur sacred thingamajigs. So that's fantastic. That was a gimmick I wanted to go for.
Yep. Well, appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck in this war. And I'm sure we'll be talking in another, let's say, dozen turns or so. And I don't know. I expect you to be on the upper hand of this war for sure.
So do I. So let's wait for the inevitable disaster.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. Take care. Cheers.